Hey folks, Ryan Walker with Ozark Smallmouth Alliance, and we're here to bring you another OSA 101 fly tying. This week it's a pattern I absolutely love tying. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. It's one I've been playing around with for 8 or 9 years, and it's my Slump Buster, or the OSA Slump Buster. It's the fly I could put on when I'm having a bad day and I know I'm going to catch something, even if it's not what I'm after. So fairly quick, fairly easy to tie, and an infinite choice of colors almost. So sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy it. So let's run real quick through a materials list. We're using the ubiquitous B10S stinger hook, and this is in a size 2. Thread is heavy black. Use the variety of your choice. I've got medium or brassy size copper wire, and again, all of these colors you can mix and match to suit what you're trying to do. I'm doing a peanut butter and jelly fly, so I've got some peanut butter and jelly or orange and or purple and brown rubber legs. UV polar chenille. I like the UV polar chenille because it's really bushy and it's really long and gives the fly a lot of body. For the wing, we're using rabbit strips, and again, all of this is color to match. And if you want to cover the lead eye up in some dubbing where your thread wraps are, I'm using this is UV purple ice dub, and I'm using a medium size painted lead eye, so you can see there. And so this fly looks like it should ride upside down, and if I'm going to tie it lighter, I'll tie that eye underneath the hook so that it will not ride upside down. But when I'm tying them a little bit heavier and I want them to get deeper, or I don't want to fish a sink tip, whatever, because I'm lazy, I will put some 0.25 or 0.15 lead on the body. That, in combination with this big old bushy rabbit strip wing, will help the fly right up. And then as a collar, I'm going to use some saddle hackle, and again, mix and match whatever color choices you want to do for what you're trying to match. I fish this fly in a multitude of different ways. I'll strip it through the current. I'll strip it really slow, or just crawl it along the bottom in the rocks or in the mud. I'll also cast it upstream into a plunge pool and just high stick it back to follow it along the bottom. And sometimes I'll just burn it. It really is one of those flies when I'm having a bad day I can tie on and I'll catch something. It may not be a smallmouth, but I do catch white bass on them when I tie them in white. I've caught walleye on them, rock bass, just about anything that I fish for. Again, that's why I call it my Slump Buster. Everybody's got their Slump Buster fly. This one's mine. So here we go, step by step. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in the copper wire, and I'm going to advance my thread a little bit, catch it on the back side, get it tied down really tight, and just leave it straight out the back like that. And the next step on this is the polar chenille. You can see how bushy that is, long, fibrous. Wine's really nice, Palmer's really nicely as well. I'm going to catch it in back by my wire. Then we're going to wind forward and half hitch it right there, keep the thread in place. Now, if you've got a rotary vise, by all means, if you want to use it, I like to do this by hand so that I can control what direction. So I want that UV dub to lay backwards. Now leave yourself just a little bit of room behind the eye. Catch that, bind it down, get rid of the excess, secure it really good, put another half hitch on it. Now, I like the bottom of my fly to be really bushy, so I'm going to stroke some of that stuff down, and then I'm going to trim the top, so I've got a kind of a bed for my Magnum strip. Now this is actually kind of cool. If you've never done any winging before with rabbit strip or anything like that, Near Enough Sculpin's kind of tied this way. There's a couple other flies that the Matuka is tied this way. This is actually kind of Matuka style, and we want the grain of the rabbit fur back. What you want to do is pick out how long you want your tail, and then you want to get a little blank spot right there. Wet it down and stroke it forward if you have to. Bring your wire towards you, and we're actually going to bind this wire, this rabbit strip, in with the wire. So get it held in place, and that's why we use the heavier wire, so we can pull that tight. Now what we're going to do is get our segments out. Get you a blank spot again, work that up through. If you got a bodkin, you can pick out some of your polar chenille fibers. This is the longest part of the fly, is getting this wing right. That thing pulled tight. Get rid of the excess here. Again, we're gonna, just for good measure, one more good yank around once more to capture. We'll capture that wire. Now this heavy wire, normally you can helicopter this stuff off. That heavy wire is tough sometimes, so I'll just use the inside edge of my scissors where I don't use it a lot and get rid of it that way, so I don't dull the points. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a bed of thread right here for our rubber legs. That's our next step. So I use jig skirt rubber. It's cheaper. I get more of it. Everything else comes from Plateau. And I usually do two legs per side. But what I'll do, a lot of guys will cut them to length first. I just lay them in and then position them where I want them when I wrap the thread down. I'm going to do the same for the other side. Catch it, bring your other leg back, secure it so you've got some segmentation in the legs or some space in the legs. Tie her down and you've got legs, baby. Last step on this fly, well, second to last step now, is going to be getting our hackle laid down. We'll come back in and trim those rubber legs off. Alright, so on my hackle, I'm looking for something big and webby. So yeah, that looks good. So I'll get rid of the fuzz down here. That's perfect. Get yourself a tie-in point. We're going to tie it cup side out. Get it attached down there. I don't even worry about that end. I'm going to cover it all up anyway. Now you can use your hackle pliers if you want. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That's why we strip. That's a good reason to strip that end off. Have something really good to get a hold of. On this one I don't think I'll need to use my hackle pliers because he's a big webby dude. As you're going forward, stroke those fibers backwards. Just like tying a soft hackle. Same thing, same premise. Now one thing a friend of mine showed me that really helped me out a bunch is when you've got this extra stem, give it an extra wrap and then capture it. Now we'll get rid of that junk. That's gone. Now we're just going to cover up the threads on our eye. Again, take all these colors for granted, or not for granted, but you know, take them as you see them. Use whatever you're trying to tie. Olives, browns. I tie this in a crawfish pattern that works really well. It's probably too much. Make a little collar, and we can bring it down like that. We're going to figure eight it to cover. Make sure we're covered up. We are. We'll come back in and clean that up. Now we're just come in front of the eye. Here's a tip that same guy that showed me about that hackle showed me. Take your Zap-A-Gap. Put a few beads right on your thread. And then come in, wind it up. Now it's time for the whip finish. Get rid of it, come back, trim your legs, however long you want them. You do about like the length of the fly at an angle there. There we go. Clean up some of that dubbing. Nothing to this fly, folks. Real simple. It's got all the elements you want. It's a ton of fun to tie because you can just do so many different colors. And it really is, it is a slump buster. Again, you can tie these in whatever colors you want. I do lots of olives, crawfish patterns, stuff like that. There it is, the OSA Slump Buster. Super simple, very durable fly as well. Looks really good in the water. It got a lot of action, soaks up a lot of water for bulk. Hey, we hope you guys enjoy these things. We really do. We love bringing them to you. March 9th, 6 days from today, is our next tying event. Got a couple of really big announcements at that one between Ozark Smallmouth Alliance and Woodard Rods. You're going to want to be there. We're doing the Willy Booger, or not the Willy Booger, sorry. We're doing the Clouser three-ways with Ty Ingram, myself, and the infamous badass Will Branch is going to be tying one of those three-ways as well. So March 9th, White River Brewing Company, 7 p.m. till we close the joint down. $10 cover gets you a beer and your tying materials. Come tie with us, please. We love doing these things. We love helping and educate people. Ty Ingram is one of the most decent, good human beings I know, and he loves helping people. We love having him on board with these things. So that's it. That's all I got. Ryan Walker for Ozark Smallmouth Alliance. I promise you spring is coming. It's going to be here. Till next time, free the